Bruce Springsteen's live performances are the stuff of legend. So how does his new live album stack up? Well, it's as great as you'd expect. And that's kind of the problem. Today, we're looking at Western Stars, music from the film, coming up next on Track by Track. Hey everybody, my name's Kyle and this is Track by Track, music reviews, news, and commentary. Thanks for tuning in today, and if this is your first time here, please take a second to click subscribe so that you won't miss future reviews and more. Now before I dive into the review, I want to let you know that similar to what I did with the studio album earlier this year, I'll include an unboxing of the album at the end of the video. If you want to get an inside look at what you'll get if you buy a physical copy, be sure to stick around for that. I'll also include Amazon ordering links in the description below for both the new live album and the studio version, so check those out if you need to expand your Springsteen album collection. Earlier this year, I reviewed Bruce Springsteen's 70s AM Gold era inspired new album, Western Stars. I had a lot of positive things to say about it at the time, and I have to admit that the affinity that I feel for the music has only grown since then. So naturally, I was excited to hear that the boss was going to be releasing a complete live version of the album, accompanied by a 30-piece orchestra. The centerpiece of this live release is actually the Western Stars concert/documentary film, which is currently enjoying a limited theatrical release before its inevitable release on home video or perhaps a streaming exclusive. Not living in a major US city where the film is playing, I haven't had a chance to see Western Stars yet, so I can't comment on the cinematic experience. However, looking back at my original review of the studio album, cinematic was actually a word I used to describe the music. It seems like a natural extension of the Western Stars song cycle to present the music in that format. And the fact that Springsteen does so with not just an orchestra but also in a very intimate setting has the potential to add some extra depth to those already lush songs and arrangements. And to a certain degree, that's the fatal flaw in the live album that accompanies the film. Western Stars, Songs from the Film, presents the complete original song cycle from the studio album, the only addition being an encore of sorts with Springsteen covering Glenn Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy. The live performances recreate the vibe of the studio versions so faithfully, you'll often be hard-pressed to detect the subtle differences. There's no reinvention in this live setting, which, depending on your perspective, may be a disappointment. My personal preference for live albums is to hear songs take on a new life when played in concert. That doesn't happen here. That being said, the performances are universally superb. The music is as gorgeous as ever, and Springsteen is in excellent voice relative to the material. If you've never heard the original album from this past summer, this live version is virtually as good a point of entry to this music as the studio recordings. Everything that I had to say about the music in my original review is just as applicable here. Still, I can't help but feel like there's a tremendous missed opportunity here. For one thing, other than the brief spoken introduction to the song Chasin' Wild Horses, the live album omits any of the dialogue or storytelling that Springsteen engaged in during the show audiences will see in the theater. Maybe that's an effort not to release something that hews too closely to the Springsteen on Broadway show, which was, of course, all about storytelling. On Songs from the Film, that is literally what you get. Just the songs. It is also worth noting that that is almost all you get. As I said before, the encore cover of Rhinestone Cowboy is the only addition to the track list. And as fun as it is to hear Springsteen sing that classic track, I have to say it is also his weakest performance on the album. His voice sounds strained on the performance, and it's surprisingly buried in the mix compared to the rest of the songs that keep him front and center. But as I said, I feel like there's a missed opportunity here, where Springsteen could have perhaps reinterpreted some of his classics in a similar format. That's exactly what he did on his excellent Live in Dublin album and video that accompanied his Seeger Sessions album. In addition to the stripped-down folk songs of Bob Seger, Springsteen tossed in a few of his own songs, reconfigured for that Seeger-inspired live setting. We can only imagine how some of those classic Springsteen tracks would have sounded with the Western Stars Orchestra behind them. So as much as I like these songs, I do struggle a bit to see the justification of a live recording that is faithful to a fault to the original recordings. I don't feel like Springsteen brings anything particularly new to the music here. The live setting neither enhances nor hampers the compositions or performances. And honestly, I do look forward to seeing the film version of this eventually because I do enjoy seeing Springsteen in storyteller mode. On its own, this live album is practically as strong as the studio album, but also in many real ways superfluous. As much as I respect the boss, I'd prefer not to think that this release is a cynical money grab because many Springsteen fans will buy anything the man puts his name on. Rather, perhaps it's a might as well kind of thing. If he's going to do a concert film, which I'm very much in favor of since he's not touring this music, then he might as well release a live album to go with it. After all, there's plenty of fans that would be disappointed to get just one without the other. Still, while I can't comment on the film that I haven't seen, I think that the album itself, as presented, is largely unnecessary. The music is very well performed and recorded, but so was the original album that you probably bought this past summer. So, on its own, I'm giving Western Stars, music from the film, an X rating of 7 out of 10, but I'll qualify that rating by saying I think this release is ultimately just for the dedicated fans. All others should perhaps consider waiting for the video release, which could well be an essential purchase. Alright, now as promised, here's a short unboxing of Western Stars, music from the film by Bruce Springsteen. Complete live performances from the film, except the talking parts, unfortunately. Here's the unwrapped front cover, and the spine, and the back cover. Here's a look inside the gatefold. This is the CD. And finally, I'll flip through the booklet for you, which is surprisingly substantial for a soundtrack album. So there you go, Western Stars, music from the film by Bruce Springsteen. Be sure to look for Amazon ordering links in the description below if you want to add this album to your collection. Once again, my name's Kyle, and this has been Track by Track. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Plus, check out some of these other videos below that I think you might also enjoy. And of course, be sure to click subscribe, because true music fans always want new releases the day they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.